Hello, my name is Nathan Fry. Um, I have started this YouTube channel to focus on USMNT content. So, US soccer. It's not just going to be the national team; it'll also be players abroad and in the United States. I also will cover the Cowboys during football season, which is starting up in about 2 months. But right now, I want to focus on USMNT content and how we did at the World Cup and the shortcomings that we had because we did not have a great World Cup. First, I want to go ahead and look at the matches that we had at the World Cup coming into the World Cup. So that would be one Senegal versus the United States, and the second match would be the USA versus Germany. This Senegal game was pretty decent, I would say. The lineup: Pulisic, Pepe, Reina, and then mostly the same from the World Cup except Berhalter and McKenzie and Turner. So this was one of our ramp up games. Everybody was subbed out about halftime, and they put in, Chris Brady because at this moment I'm pretty sure, yeah, Matt Freese was our starting goalkeeper, which we need to get rid of him, but we'll get into that later. So this was a good first game. Scored the two early goals. They scored two goals, and then Balogun puts one away to end the game and winning for the United States. Germany, 1-2 loss. I don't remember much about this game, realistically. This is a good lineup except Robinson. Huh. Why the hell is he playing? Anyways, yeah, the subs made. Germany played a strong starting 11 too, but it's a close game and it gave hope, I would say. Um, I would say it gave hope for the USMNT going into the World Cup. Realistically, for me, that's what it did. And then, you know, let's start covering the actual World Cup and what happened. This 4-1 Paraguay game, beautiful game. I was jumping up and down in my room, realistically. The own goal, I can't remember who caused the own goal, realistically. So yeah, I don't remember that. And then I feel like this lineup's wrong. Am I confused? Sometimes we'd run it back three with Reem, Richards, and Freeman. Des would drop down, right? But this was our attacking shape. Our defensive shape was more of a 5-3-2. Whatever you want to go there. This midfield kind of stayed the same. Adams would drop a little deeper. He would come here. Pulisic and Ballo would stay up top for attacking purposes. Yeah, but this was a nice game by Ballo, of course. 2 goals, a brace. Freeman, a good game for him. Very young, starting in this World Cup. Hope to see him in the next one. Tillman looked good. Pulisic looked okay before he got subbed off. This was a good game. The subs played well. I'm not a big fan of Sebastian Berhalter, but I like his energy, especially. We'll talk about this last game against Belgium. I'll talk about him more. But, I like his energy. I just don't think he's that great of a player. Gio, I thought this goal would really help him and motivate him for this World Cup, but it really didn't do anything. Pepe and Weah, decent coming off the bench for the United States. And then this next game was the Australia game. 2-0, good game. A lot of, shit talking coming up to this game by the Australians. This is more of this three-back system I was talking about that turns into a 5-back for defensive purposes. We played like this because we had no Pulisic. Does it show he's injured? No, but he was injured. He was injured during the Paraguay game. Robinson and Des, throughout the whole tournament, I think they were pretty decent. Robinson, I don't really like how he played sometimes, but besides that, I thought he played decent this tournament. Des played decent this tournament too. Having them come up and down the field, I think, helps build the attack a lot. And Robinson's solid on defense. Des really isn't, but Adams makes up for it, I think, in the back end. It's a good 2-1 win for the United States. Australia with this freaking 9 defenders, 10 if you count the goalkeeper, just sat and we had to break the low block. And who scored first? Right? It was an own goal. I don't remember how this own goal really happened. I think the U.S. came on this side of the field and it hit. Well, that wouldn't make any sense. But did they come on this side of the field? No clue what side of the field they came on. But it deflected off a defender and for a goal. And then Freeman, right before halftime, beautiful header, if I'm not mistaken, for a goal. And the U.S. struggled, I would say, in that second half. But also, we kind of pulled a Australia and sat very deep with our defense. I didn't agree with that move. I think we should have, kept playing our game. But, that's not, my say. I'm not Mauricio Pochettino. This Turkey versus USA game, important but not important. I think it was good to see our depth. It's good to see who we have as backups, but obviously not important in the grand scheme of things because none of these guys start besides McKennie. I don't know why he played this whole game or damn near the whole game. It really didn't make me happy. Robinson, McKenzie. Sorry, I think I said McKenzie for McKennie. Mark McKenzie, Miles Robinson, they should never see the field again. They aren't, great. Austin Trusty, he showed a lot of potential, in my opinion. I think he should have started the Bosnia game and maybe the Belgium game. I just don't like how old Tim Ream is, and teams, especially went farther in this tournament, where they just attacked him. But you also can't blame Tim Ream, in my opinion, because he's that old and he's our second best center back, so cannot blame it on him. Berhalter with a nice game. I think defensively he wasn't great, but attacking he was pretty well. Austin Trusty, obviously nice goal. He should have had 2, I think. Pulisic came off the bench, didn't really do anything. Tillman, same. I would say nobody that came off the bench really did anything. They scored in the last minute of the game. They celebrated like they won the World Cup. That was crazy. 2-0 win Bosnia. Balo red card. That wasn't deserved in my opinion, but that doesn't matter. We won the game. He scored a goal, a nice goal. Tillman scored a nice goal too. Bosnia just never looked really dangerous. The USA really handled this game the way you would have expected them to. So, yeah, that's good on the USA's part. It really gave me a lot of hope going into the quarters. Right? Is it the quarters? Nope, the round of 16, my bad. And then Belgium, Tontas, hard as hell. Malik Tillman, great performance by him, I would say. Pulisic, this performance from Pulisic makes me feel he shouldn't be called up to the U.S. to the national team for a little bit. I wouldn't want to see him for a good year or 2 years. He needs to go learn how to not be weak anymore, in my opinion. Because he's a great player. He's one of the USA's best players of all time, realistically. But also, he played like a hot pile of donkey poop this game. And then he went out injured. And I don't know how much of an injury he really had. But, I mean, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I just didn't like how he played. It really disappointed me. I think Ballo played decent. Got no service when he did get the ball. He looked pretty nice. Serginho coming off early, I don't like that because it was 2-1. This game's still competitive. Ring, Freeze, and Richards, horrible game. I don't know how horrible horrible of a game Richards had, sorry. But the defense was just shaky the whole time. And we gave Belgium something to play for. We overturned Ballo's red. Trump got involved. It got very political and not about soccer anymore. And the fact that had happened just wasn't great for us. And so I think that's part of the reason why we lost 4-1. I also think the team lacked it's not the quality. We have quality, players in top 5 leagues almost everywhere. Freeman, Des, McKennie, Ballo, Tillman, Pulisic, Adams, Robinson. He goes on the bench too. I think Des is still at PSV, so that's not top five league, but he can't play at a top five league if he really wants to. You know what I mean? And I mean, we have people on the bench. Trusty, I think, should have been starting. Joe Scally's a nice piece off the bench. I like Brennan Anderson because of his fight that he never truly wants to give up, and I appreciate that. Zendejas, he's pretty decent in my opinion. Weah probably could have came off the bench this game if he didn't drop that complete stinker versus Turkey. That was horrible by him. I'm not gonna lie. Um, but yeah, so that's the game breakdown for the United States. We went at 3-2 in the World Cup. I'm gonna remove this off the screen now. It was a promising World Cup in my opinion. Out of the group stage, this is the best World Cup we've seen from the United States. Coming out of the group stage, I think in the end we scored about 10 goals, the most ever from U.S. history. It's either like 8, 9, or 10 goals. I can't really remember. But you would have expected the USA to put up more of a fight against Belgium, especially because of what they did. 2014, I think. They beat us in a closer game with a worse United States team. So they had a better team, we had a worse team, and it was a closer game. Compared to us now, I would have argued we actually had a stronger team than Belgium, but it did not show at all. We played like complete donkey ass, realistically. So yeah, that's my coverage on how I feel the World Cup went. I'm gonna make better content at some point. I just started this though, so we're gonna try to get better. I thank everybody for tuning in, and hopefully in the future the videos are better and I could give you guys more in-depth analysis about stuff. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.